Hello everyone. People often say don't judge things by their appearance. And today, I'll tell you about a young man full of energy, outstanding talent, a beauty queen of stunning beauty. These two people who came together were a magical couple, but no one expected behind that marriage is hiding a very thrilling secret. Honyu Kim is 4 years old, is a spine surgeon of Korean origin, have American citizenship, of the typical elite. By the end of 2020, my wife is not her Christmas present. I was surprised when I accidentally checked the computer. I found a smelly message a man sends to his wife. The very bold content of this message made Honyu Kim immediately feel cold in his back. After further investigation, I was shocked to realize it's not just a man who has a shady relationship with his wife. I'm only now aware. Turns out your head's long been plugged for some 10 horns. Honyu Kim's wife is no ordinary woman. Did you ever become a Connecticut in year 211 and represent this state in the national beauty pageant? For 5 years married to Honyu Kim. On the outside, she always shows the image of a gentle wife. She is a high-class cool girl, serving men in the upper class. And it's not just a flash of fun. This woman, there's even a fixed list of customers. No matter what you think, Honyu Kim can't understand. Why does my wife do that? You betrayed me for 5 years, certainly not for the money. You know, doctors in America make a lot of money. Honyu Kim is an expert in this field, and never have to go through a lack of money. If not for money, is it because Honyu Kim's wife doesn't love you? Isn't it true? Since you two were together, they share a lot of sweet moments on social media. It makes many people jealous. I also think the relationship is one of the most perfect marriages in the world. So that's not the truth after all. Let's look back at the beginning. Let's take a look at this drama-filled story. 2011 in Connecticut, a pretty girl, beautiful name Regina Tenner, confidently stride on the stage to enjoy the glory. She has a tall figure and a charming curve. Long dark brown hair that makes people fall in love. Regina Tenner born in a normal family. There is not much information about her childhood. I only know that since you've been a beauty in the crowd. With the encouragement of family and friends, she entered a beauty pageant for the first time and suddenly won the queen of. After this victory, she represented the state in the national beauty pageant, even though they didn't get a high score in the final round. Thanks to its striking beauty, you've entered the fashion world, sign a contract to become a professional model for many brands of underwear, and they're on the covers of major magazines. Regina Tenner doesn't just have an angel face and fiery body, but intelligence is not inferior to AI. According to recorded information, she was a BA student, chemistry at the University of Connecticut. However, I'm busy with business and beauty contests. She decided to save her education. For her, the post-contest is not merely to put on gorgeous dresses and wear a glittering crown. She sees it as a platform for women to develop fully, from discipline training, practice sports, improve presentation skills. Along with that, Regina Tenner also believes that beauty contests that can promote community work and charitable activities. Her future dream is to become a dentist. To be able to help the poor in these countries, we need support and organizations. With this idea, Regina also majored in dentistry at a community college in Farmington. She also developed a fashion app, backed by a major investor. If you say a beautiful girl can make people fall in love, a girl who is both beautiful and smart, as deep as Regina, it will make a lot of men feel great. At a high-end party where Honyu Kim is the guest, he had the opportunity to meet Regina and was immediately fascinated. Then everyone who attended the party, they're all figures in the elite, extremely rich in power. Honyu Kim was born in 1980 and is Korean American. He speaks fluent English, Korean, Spanish. I come from a rich family. You have a good education and also put a lot of effort into learning. Your profile can be said to be extremely good. I graduated with a medical degree from the University of Columbia and then went on to the University of Washington. In 2006, he began work at the Penn's Royal Hospital to become a spinal surgeon, specialized in the treatment of complex spinal pathologies and adults. Not only that, Honyu Kim is a volunteer doctor in Syria, Leon, West Africa. A normal spinal surgeon may only experience 1 to 2 rare disease CAs but in my career, Honyu Kim has successfully implemented surgery hundreds of spinal deformities outside of professional work. He's also the leader of many research projects and won many global awards. So, this man is regularly invited to the conference, interview with the media as the Sao of the medical world. Apart from a dream career, Hancho Kim is also very focused on personal image. You have a handsome appearance, muscular body thanks to sports training. According to the New York Daily News, Dr. Han Million Kim's income in 2018 is $2 million United States. That's about 76 billion ocean coins. I own a few houses in America with a real estate value of over $9 million. Although there is no official data, many people estimate Hancho Kim's properties and estate is in excess of $40 million. Equivalent of billionaires in Vietnam. Extraordinary handsome property giant, successful career-toned body. Hancho Kim is really the ideal model with the women. The glittering titles that this man owns. It attracted many talented young women, but I still don't feel attractive. Until Rochina came along. You have officially captured my heart. In fact, you made Hancho Kim fall in love at first glance. The more we learn about this woman, the more I realize you really are my ideal partner, and definitely the future wife. Hancho Kim vows to take Rochina back as his wife, so he started chasing her furiously and sweetly, like other rich people. To show sincerity, I also use the simplest and most direct way, to use money. Rakira wouldn't refuse such a pursuit. November 2015, after less than half a year together, Hancho Kim couldn't help but propose to her. Rochina happily agreed and the two entered the ceremony. Today is November 2nd, 2015. Make the woman you love have a memory. Can't forget, Hancho Kim spent a huge amount of money. $5 million is more than 3 billion Vietnamese dong to organize a wedding away from home and romantic. The guests were jealous. After the Korean wedding, Kim and his wife went on their honeymoon to the United States, Spain and many other places. The photos that they post on social media so sweet and happy, it makes everyone jealous. Some of their friends even left comments under the photos. You guys look perfect. After the holidays, they returned to the United States to bring comfort for Rochina. Han Choi bought a luxury apartment worth $5 million at the Apple Side in Manhattan. This is a popular part of New York's elite, where there's a shopping culture and an artistic atmosphere. The house price is also very high. Besides, Rochina loves to travel. After marriage, you keep the habit of going everywhere. Take part in fashion shows or travel. Each trip lasts for 10 days. Because of his wife's Hancho Kim special, buying a seaside villa in Long Island, it's worth $5 million. This couple is really compatible. Like I said, you're worried about raising money. You just need to be as beautiful as a flower. Maybe for the joy of having a beautiful wife. Hancho Kim is also full of energy at work, and property is constantly growing. In 2020, this remarkable man, he also served as chairman of the technical conference International Advanced Spine. Outside of travel, Rochina regularly works in China to develop a fashion app. Each job takes a few weeks. However, Hancho Kim is a little confused about this project. Even though he's been married for 5 years, his wife is still working on the project. You can also ask about progress or investors. However, Rochina is always evasive and doesn't give an answer. Before marriage, Hancho Kim once asked Rochina if the application is still in the development phase. And you don't have a fixed income. What do you live on? Rochina replied, she inherited $500,000 and used this money to fund their lives. After marriage, he likes to travel and is often away from home. Rochina seems to have no other defects. Since coming home, she has changed a lot. Be more gentle and love your husband. Han Kua Kim. If you think of your wife, all the fatigue is gone. But behind the seemingly perfect marriage, hiding a lot of secrets. After 5 years, when Hancho Kim discovered the messages from a strange man sent Rochina, his first reaction was to think his wife was having an affair. But investigate deeper. I found out the truth is worse than that. For 5 years, Rochina did a special job that her husband didn't know about. Every time you say travel, all the interesting and beautiful things you show off are fake. You don't actually travel. They go somewhere else to receive guests. The guests are rich. Even Hancho Kim later discovered a truth. She started this job before they got married. Rochina attended Portland High School, but you're not interested in learning. He even dropped out of school and regularly went to nightclubs. You started out as a hostess, but then completely fall into the path of lost women. What this means is Rochina is not a deep and content person like I thought when I was 19. She was arrested for reckless driving and fined $150 before their wedding. She's also being sued for rent debts of $13,800 after Regina becomes the state of Connecticut. Your social relationships are getting more and more complicated. Started when he met Hancho Kim. This woman's intention was to raise another big fish. However, she did not expect. This man is serious and wants to marry you. That's Hancho Kim. Become the one to carry the consequences of having sex with this woman. Actually, if after marriage Ricky stopped everything and is dedicated to being a wife, maybe your past won't be reversed. But unfortunately, she kept up her shameful job, and getting caught is hard to avoid. When Hancho Kim digs you more and more irritated because of my wife's clients, they're all influential people. From the real estate mogul, famous designer, successful businessmen to political figures. And finally, I can't take it anymore. Filed for divorce in Manhattan Supreme Court. This is a 264-page report. Request to annul the marriage. In the report, you record the hurt and the betrayal that I myself had to go through. 5 years. It's one of the most shocking things is that Regina has a stable from many sources. You're obviously a money earner, even if you have a rich husband. 20,152,000. She has a total of 675,000 transferred to your account. United States dollars. For the most part, money came from a real estate agent in New Jersey and a famous lighting designer. Real estate directors I transferred $185,500 it's to you. $2,000 per payment. Recalculate the two people they've met no less than 90 times. Meanwhile, the Kia lighting designer I also transferred over $116,000 and they've also met about 50 times. You also have a lot of money from your accounts. Other personal accounts. It was also transferred to this woman's account. In the divorce report, Hancho Kim said, I can't imagine. At Sao, a spine specialist, he has a high income and is always generous to his wife. Was bitterly betrayed. I think if there are no lies, and hide the truth of Regina from the beginning, I'll never marry you. The actions of this woman, it's a serious deception, makes Hancho Kim very angry. While the information is published, this divorce caused a stir in the United States and the public talking about it. Some netizens digging back to Regina's interview video when she entered a beauty pageant, in which you answered, I have never used online dating software. People joke that she's only involved in offline dating. When asked how it felt to take art photos, Regina said she didn't go to those photo shoots. So it's uncomfortable. A lot of people on social media laughed this answer. Different from Hancho's reaction, Kim Ricker was very calm when the matter is uncovered, as if she had predicted. There was no crying or regret, but worth talking about. She's perfectly fine without a storm. This woman has a good card in her hand, but there are some very wrong moves. As the case prepares to enter the public trial phase, in the 26th of July 2021, Hancho Kim and Regina suddenly have their own arrangement outside the court. There are issues related to the division of property, also resolved quickly. The next day is July 2nd to 7th, a remarkable report that appeared in the media. According to reporter Regina, have 586 followers on social networks. There are a lot of influential people among them, including Mr. Trump's eldest son, Donald Trump Trudeau, who interacted and dropped him into her post. About the Southern settlement, many people are very suspicious. Hancho Kim can easily forgive the humiliation all year long or not, but we need to remember, he doesn't just have evidence of betrayal, but also in-hand customer lists. In the world of flowers, if the case goes to court, these characters can be exposed, and this could cause a big wave in politics. Of course, this is just speculation. And the real reason is, only the people inside know. No matter what, this mess is over. After the divorce, Hancho is clearly deeply hurt. I deleted all my love photos on social media. Refuse every interview. I don't want to mention the name Regina. You just want to forget the past. In January 2013, Palestinian doctors in New York to host a charity cycling event at Manhattan University View. This event aims to raise funds for a research osteoarthritis project and attract the participation of many sports stars and members of the local community. In the pictures that were published, everyone found a picture of the temple in time. You have a beard, and your skin is healthy and extremely masculine. In the picture, you're wearing a bike helmet, and you look confident. It seems you've overcome the darkness of your previous marriage and continue to work in the field of spinal surgery. Meanwhile, the break entertainer has disappeared from the public. Imagine it on a beautiful day. A loved one of yours is missing. You panic and you're afraid. But a year later, he came back with a wound. The clothes the person wears again. Clothes he was wearing the day he disappeared. So is it a real person or a ghost? And if that's the case, how do you feel? Now let's get to a real case in the United States. This case caused a public uproar and make a lot of functional forces. The FBI must be involved. The morning of destiny. 10 to 2013 at North Conway, New Hampshire. Obi Hennins, the 14-year-old, is on his way home after a long day at school. She's walking a little limp because of her new early birthday gift from mom she is making on her execution. He's excited about the birthday party, though held for another 3 days. When Obi got to the schoolyard, he saw that the bus had left. So Obi started walking home for 2 hours. 2 hours later, Jenny, ABI's mother, returned from the hospital where she worked. And there's no I at home. This is unusual because her youngest daughter is never late without calling or texting. Obi is a kind girl who loves animals, a little naughty, always happy and happy. Jenny is worried, but I think she must be at school with you. Then she decided to pick him up at school, but the librarian said she saw leave. Jenny was worried. She was afraid her daughter would get hurt or something. Xenia called the hospital immediately. But I didn't see Obi at the hospital. Most people would immediately think that Obi had run away from home. Angelia is not. She understands her daughter and know for sure that's not going to be possible. There are only 3 days left for ABI's birthday. She's excited about the party, so there's no chance she escape before birthday. Xenia called ABI's best friend. She said that just a few minutes before she got home, 2 people took a selfie. And Obi doesn't look wrong. When reporting to the police, even the police officer agreed that it didn't seem it's like Obi left home. Obi is very attached to her family and close to her mother. There is no conflict in the family, so leaving home is almost zero. In just a few hours, the disappearance of Obi. It's been breaking news locally. It's taken the community by surprise, because New Ham is the second safest state in the country, and the last kidnapping that happened here was 1908-6. The search was quickly launched. It's not just Conway Police, the FBI and the Federal Police search in the Not Conway area. I want to find out. After 3 days of searching, ABI's birthday is approaching, and the Conway community came together to hold a prayer vigil for the missing young girl. The truth of the case is revealed. While people pray for Obi, she's tied up and locked in a locked room. There's not a bit of light. It all started 3 days ago when Obi was walking home from school. In the middle of the road, a car stopped next to her. The driver leaned over and pointed to her limp gait before asking if she wanted to be taken home. He felt pain in his leg, so Obi accepted and got in the car. And that's one of the decisions. This 14-year-old girl, I feel so sorry. When Obi strapped on her seatbelt, the kidnapper's a little stretched and looking for something. Right now ABI's got a gun in his face. In a threatened situation, Obi was handcuffed and blindfolded as he drove. The man kept squeezing her down under the panel to hide you from the passers-by. The young woman tried to push him out, but things have gone bad. Obi suddenly feels a sharp pain in the leg. At first she thought she'd been shot in the leg. Despite his fear, Obi continued to resist. But every time you push him out, the pain in his leg gets worse. That's when she realized she wasn't shot. It's just constant shock with an electric gun. Obi tried to convince the kidnapper, but he didn't. After a long ride, the kidnapper stopped the car. Obi was dragged into the room and was thrown on a dirty cushion before the man removed the blindfold. Looking around, Obi noticed the metal floor. The walls are soundproof. Every door has a lock. But the worst thing is, the man standing in front of her. She was wearing a yellow Halloween mask. The kidnapper continued, chained her feet to metal bars around the cushion. Then he put a t-shirt on her head and put a motorcycle helmet on top of it. He said that if you tried to run away screaming or any attempt to escape, you will suffer unintended consequences. The kidnapper even threatened, shot her in the head and broke her body into pieces. The next 3 days are hard to describe. Obi trapped in a hopeless loop. She was repeatedly raped and tortured. You have to live through a nightmare beyond what can be imagined. The kidnapper played music too loud when he attacked her, and she was gagged and blindfolded. Time goes by. Obi can't tell whether it's day or night outside. All she can do is keep praying. One day the kidnapper told Obi, "She's on the news, and people are looking for you." He lets you watch TV coverage of a press conference organized by the New Hampshire Attorney General's office. They launched an investigation into her disappearance. When I saw my mom crying on the screen, she was crying like rain. Abi's nightmare continued for nearly 2 weeks, until the kidnapper asked you to write to your mother. He believes that this is the only way for the police to stop looking. He asked Obi to write a letter that looked like she'd run away. But this smart girl had another plan in mind. Obi, watch. It's our only chance to contact the outside world. And she tried to carve a little inscription on the back of the page with my nails. She wrote 2 sentences, "Save me and someone kidnaps me." However, the kidnapper discovered this inscription. Obi feared he would be killed. Surprisingly, the kidnapper doesn't seem to have any intention of killing Obi, but he still cruelly punished her by make her wear an electric shovel necklace. He kept firing electric guns at her. Electric shovel collars that are used for animal training. The mechanism of this necklace is to generate an electric current. When we detect vibrations in the vocal cords, it can be understood simply that if Obi screams, you'll immediately get an electric shock. The kidnapper's interested in this. He tortured you very badly. Obi tried not to scream, but because it hurts so much, you can't control it. Then she got an electric shock and passed out. It hasn't stopped. They want the police to stop the investigation. The kidnapper once again forced Obi to write a second letter. The letter took a week to arrive in Jenny's hands. It's been a month since Obi went missing. Getting the letter made Jenny happier than expected. But when she read the letter, she felt very strange. Even though the letter is Abi's, but by the mother's hunch, Renia felt that there was something wrong with the letter. The police also agreed. They confirmed Abi's DNA on the letter, but no one is sure how you actually wrote this letter. The police quickly realized that the letter is their only card. If they hoped to find Obi, they had to risk doing what the letter intended and once again call for help from the public. However, the press conference had an unintended side effect. People turned their backs on Obi. Most people think Abi is a rebellious girl. Running away from home doesn't seem. What if you're in danger? The indifference of the public. As public indifference increases, the rumors also arise, especially at the high school where Obi lives. My best friend Miranda and boyfriend Jimmy both attended school. The reporter said that if this was an escape, they won't be able to report because it's not news. However, this is a hot topic for conversation at school. Students at the school rumored that Obi should run away. This leaves Obi, Jimmy's boyfriend, in doubt. But soon after, the police have denied that Jimmy is a suspect. You have a lot of compelling evidence to correct with public opinion. The sheriff made a choice: or declare Obi as a fugitive, or a kidnap victim. Fortunately for Obi, the sheriff chose the latter. The lack of media attention has made the public. I don't know much information about the incident. And quickly the case cooled down. However, Xenia refused to let her son's case be forgotten. Months later, she continues to appear in with public. The police chief. She read her desperate letter first. Some reporters, "I hope there will be help from the people around me." Surprise chow. 5 months later, in a small town 30 miles from Conway, Kibi is also known as Next Kibi. 34 years old, a mechanic. On my way home, there was a woman driving. He accidentally touched his car. In a fit of anger, he's out. He knocked the woman to the ground with his gun. No one knows that a violent man. This looks normal. It's Abi's kidnapper 5 months ago. After the attack, I was arrested and forced to hand over his gun. When the order is received, he personally called the police before the handover, asked them to retrieve his gun immediately. His actions surprised the police a little. To get the KPI's guns, police officer Eric Bentaban can't help but pay attention. Oversized shipping containers in the yard. When asked what was inside, Kibi lied to the question and said the court only asked him to turn in his gun, so he's under no obligation to answer the question. In addition, Abi's disappearance has now been forgotten. After 5 months, most of the press community concluded she'd run away. Local news outlets continue to report on the case, attempts by Abi's friends to contact her. After Kibi's interrogation with the police, he's starting to get paranoid. It's changed the atmosphere inside the room where Obi was locked up. Obi is now always chained, and when she's installing tubes and pumps next to her bed so she can drink her own water. when Kibi's paranoia reaches its peak and he made a sudden move. He carried Obi out of the room and put her in the truck. Then he drove away for a long time. He carried her into a room and threw her on a cushion. When I took Obi to a new room and let her live there for months. A close relationship between the perpetrator and the victim. Obi noticed that there were many screws and wires on the door. He said he had set a trap at the door, so if for some reason the door opens, the room will burn. 6 months after being detained, this is the first time KP eyes opened up to Obi. Throughout the following weeks, the more you to talk to each other. Is an atheist and an objectivist. Kippy argues with Obi about the existence of God and the ideals of freedom. Although Obi noticed that this man liked the exchanges, you still look at him like a monster. As time goes by, Obi realizes the more she talks like friends with Cabby, he's less violent and less likely to rape you. Who loves to read? He gave you a lot of books, keep you busy during that time. There's a cookbook in there. At the time, Obi didn't know the kidnapper's name, and when you see the name on the cookbook, you asked Ned Kibi who was. And Kibi unconsciously replied, "Why do you know my name?" As time went on, Obi learned more about the kidnapper. Cabby didn't just stop wearing the mask in front of her. He shared more about the past and his disturbing beliefs. She's not surprised when Cabby came up with a plan to counterattack the government he hated so much. He even suggested printing fake money, and for Obi gave him a helping hand. Maybe that's part of the reason you have his trust. It's because she's okay with whatever he wants to do. When Ov and Kibi spend a lot of time together printing money, his interest in you is fading. Even though the rape didn't stop, but he started looking for prostitutes instead. One of them had a girl named Lauren Mande. 2 to 7 years old from Natsua. I had a special meeting with him. When you wake up after a night, Lorden found a pile of $50 on the table, and Kibi's gone. And that day, you tried to use that money to shop for food at local Worldmarts, but the cashier realized there was a problem with the note and notified the police. Lauren was very angry. You have to face police questioning. Even though Kibi gave you a fake name, but you still shared his email address and a clear description of his badly damaged car with the police. Back to the house. I don't know what happened to Kibi. He banged on the door, shouting nonsense in Kobi's face. It scares her. But as I've done hundreds of times before, Obi remained calm. She came over and asked him calmly, "Something's wrong." After 9 months of detention, Obi fully understands Kibi. You've learned how to deal with him, how to stop his anger, and even a way to calm him down. Your strategy is to parts, listen and stay calm at all costs. Kibi quickly explained what had happened before. Tell Obi to come out. When you walk out of the room, she recognized behind the room door. It was the first room she was held in. Obi understands that you've never actually left Kobi's vault. When he forced you to move for months ago, he just drove around for hours, just to get you back to the right place, but in another part of the room. Upon entering the room, removed ABI's electric shock necklace and gave her a black plastic bag. Inside plastic bag, it's the clothes she was wearing when she was abducted. Obi was surprised, but right then Kibi said he had to get you out of here. Back to the world. People might think that Kibi will take Obi to another location, or even kill her and end it. But that's what's special about Obi. By treating the kidnapper like a human being, she put him in a really awkward situation. 9 months ago, he probably wouldn't have hesitated to get rid of her, but now, the man became attached to the young girl. In my own way, this change comes from ABI's extraordinary resilience and the ability to see what's good for everyone, even in the tormentor himself. She also humanized her kidnapper. You play psychological games with him, and somehow we can win his trust. You find a way to see humanity in the person who is treating me cruelly, and use that as a survival technique. When they go out, ABI's still not sure what he's going to do. Maybe he'll release you in another state, or give her to the AI. But her heart began to beat fast when you see a road sign that says Conway in front of you. Not long after, Kibi stopped the car at the exact spot where almost a year ago. When he saw no cars passing, he asked her to get out. The moment you close the door, he leaves. That's how it all ends. You look back at your freedom. That's what you've wanted for the last 9 months. Obi immediately walked to her house. She even wore the clothes and boots she was wearing when kidnapped. To the front door, she heard her mother talking on the phone. "You can hear my mother's voice," Abby called out loud, hoping her mother could hear. Jenny opened the door and saw her daughter coming back. "I can't help but get emotional and cry. But it's not over with Obi." The last thing Kibi said before releasing her was, because his case was dropped, the police returned the gun to him. At the same time, Kibi threatened if she revealed his identity, it will end your life and your family. Willing to do anything to protect ABI's family. Kibi's name private. When information about ABI's return was made public, to get angry. They kept referring to ABI's letter from 7 months ago. People criticized and blamed Obi for her silence. The wicked must be punished. In the face of rumors around Obi forced to make a choice. Thanks to the love and encouragement from my family, you've collected 10 brave enough and make sure that Cabby won't harm another by revealing his identity to the FBI. Coordinate with local police. The FBI held a large-scale raid on Cobby's house. It's amazing for the agents and the police. Cabby immediately surrendered. He's very violent in situations where he has an advantage. He couldn't confront the police, so he chose to surrender. For the next 2.5 years, investigators with the police chief, they rebuilt the case, while Kibi waits for judgment in prison. Then they absolutely have enough evidence to convict this 34-year-old man. 108 BA offenses, from kidnapping to hundreds of sexual assault crimes and producing fake money. KP is have no other choice, in addition to accepting a plea deal at the request of the court for 7 of the crimes. Give him a sentence of 4595. Athenium Kibi has been charged with 108 BA. But with a plea deal with the state, he pleaded guilty to 7 counts. And now Cabby will be sentenced to 4,595 in prison. What this investigation reveals is that every detail the victim provided was genuine. All information is supported by evidence, hundreds of specimens, purchase records, and testimonies of other individuals. Since Kippy was sentenced, Obi has achieved much, from graduating high school to becoming a hairdresser, the target she had even before she was kidnapped. She also became a proud mother, and as a producer, to run a film based on his story. However, her biggest victory is to come before all that. In the 26th of May 2016, she officially kept reporting in court and faced Kibi in his own way. In a courtroom in New Hampshire, a little girl across from a 34-year-old man under arrest and now accused of kidnapping her. He was eventually sentenced to 45 years in prison. This prison sentence includes the seriousness of the act and the psychological impact on the victim. That's Obi. Give back all the suffering you have suffered. For this person, it's different from kidnapping cases. The other victims were brutally murdered, or no body was found. Obi successfully returned home after 9 months of captivity and brutal torture. Her hard work and perseverance helped her survive. It's in the most difficult situations there is always a light at the end of the road. And that's the case. Do you have any thoughts today? Please comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our support channel. Thank you very much. Hello and see you later.